Hey, Dave Melinda here, Positive Polarity Podcast. Hope things are going awesome for you. I am so excited today to be hanging out with two guys that are just going to make this show bring it to the next level. And I'm super excited. The problem is I have to reveal to you an addiction that I have, and I'm addicted to socks. I have a whole drawer full of socks. And so I have more socks than my wife. And so that is really an addiction that I'm working through. And so I'm like, I got to find somebody that's going to help me with this. And so I'm honored to be hanging out with Mark X Cronin and John Cronin from John's Crazy Socks. How are you guys today?
I'm pretty good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dave, we're really excited to be here.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys, I start looking at this and I see you have like 240,000 Facebook followers and you have 29,000 five-star reviews. How did you get so many five-star reviews?
Well, you have to work hard.
You do.
You have to know what matters. So we have a slightly different type of business model.
Okay.
We're a social enterprise.
Okay.
So we have both a social and a business purpose. What's our mission, pal?
Spread happiness.
Spreading happiness.
Awesome.
And we can talk a lot about the social mission. People like talking about that.
Yeah.
But at its core, we have to be a great e-commerce business.
Sure.
So, for everything else to work, we have to have a great website. We have to have great selection. How many different socks do we have now?
We have 4,000 different kinds of socks and any sources.
4,000 different socks. You know what that means, Dave?
John, don't say that because now I have to buy, if I have to buy 4,000 socks, I'm going to have to get another drawer. Okay.
We'll get a truckload.
Dude, don't do that to me, John. Seriously, you tell me you have 10 different choices and that's it. 4,000. That's fantastic.
That means John here is the owner of the world's largest sock store.
Oh my gosh.
But then, you got to make sure the goods are good. So
Sure. Yep.
we do that in how we select and quality test our products.
Sure.
And we listen to our customers. So that's one way you get those 29,000 five-star reviews. And the service has to be good.
Absolutely.
We do same-day shipping.
Sure.
The order comes in today.
Wow.
It's going out today. We do better shipping than Amazon.
Holy cow. John,
here's
you're
the big
shipping your
difference.
socks the same day?
We ship them, you're not going to get it the same day, but we ship the same day. An order comes in,
Sure.
it's going out. And what do you put in every package?
I put sticky note and candy.
You're going to get a handwritten thank you note from John. You're going to get candy. It's our way of saying thank you.
Wow.
And Jeff Bezos over at Amazon, he's not putting a thank you note and candy in those packages.
Nope, not at all. Nor is he putting candy. That's awesome. Well, I want to back up a second, Mark, and ask you that social enterprise piece, because there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners listening that really probably haven't heard those two words together. So when you say social enterprise, what does that mean to you guys at John's Crazy Socks?
Well, it's really something fundamental for us. And I would suggest for all businesses. You've got to have a purpose.
Okay.
Some mission. I like the word purpose. That's driving what you do.
Okay.
It's got to be something larger than ourselves. And it can't just be, we want to make money.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong. We want to make money. We like to live indoors.
Yep.
But when you have some larger purpose, you now can better connect with your customers, better connect with your colleagues and employees, better connect with the community. There's more, and that connection becomes more sustainable and will support growth for the long haul.
Sure.
So the idea of being a social enterprise, it's we're saying we're more than just focusing on profits and losses. Another way to think about it, Milton Friedman somewhat famously declared, businesses only owe an obligation to their shareholders, to their owners and their shareholders.
Right.
We're suggesting we're not alone.
Sure.
We're not the first ones.
Sure.
We're suggesting something different. We're suggesting that we have an obligation to all of our stakeholders. Yes, we have an obligation to our owners, to us, and now we have strategic partners, but we have an obligation to our colleagues, to our customers, to our community, to the environment, even to our suppliers.
Sure.
And when you take that view, that becomes a better way to do business, and it's more sustainable. So that's where the concept of the social enterprise will come from. And listen, we're not alone. I'd recommend you go look at Simon Sinek, who will talk about start with why.
Sure.
What's your why? What
Yeah.
differentiates you?
Yeah.
There's the Firms of Endearment, which is a book, a wonderful book written about how you can have love drive a business. But we're not talking, fuzzy, let's warm and feel good.
Yeah.
We're talking about things that make a difference. What are you working for?
Sure.
And today, customers are increasingly asking, before I give you my money, who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing with that money? How do you treat your employees? How do you
Sure.
treat the environment? And look what's happening with employees.
Right.
Beginning last August, more than 4 million people have quit their jobs each month in the United States.
Yeah.
In April, it was over 5 million.
Hmm.
People are saying, what's it all about? What am I
Right.
doing?
Right.
Well, if you have a social enterprise, you're answering that question.
That's awesome. So if I was going to be applying for a job at John's Crazy Socks, what do you define, or what would you be telling me is the social enterprise for John and for your sock company?
Well, what's our mission, Val?
Spread happiness.
It's spreading it. We would tell you that we are driven to spread happiness. Much of that is built on showing what people with different abilities can do. We would share with you, and we do, share with you our 5 pillars that we've built this on. We'd want you to know everything we can about our business, but come here and let's have an impact. We're going to spread happiness. We're going to show what people with different abilities can do. We're going to give back. You're going to feel good about working here.
Sure.
And I can tell you, we have real experience on this. We just hired 3 new people. We're a small but a growing company. Here on Long Island, at least, there's a growing labor shortage.
Okay.
I hear all the time from other business owners, I can't find people. I can't get people. People say they're coming for an interview, they blow me off. People say they'll accept the job, they don't show up.
Sure.
We had no trouble filling those jobs. We had a surplus of great candidates. Our trouble was picking which one did we want the most.
Sure. Sure.
And here's an example why. There was a woman who actually had worked with us in the past. We've had our ups and downs, so we had to let people go. We're now on a pretty stable basis.
Good.
She had gone on, worked at another place, had a great job, good pay. She came back to work with us. Why? Well, at the other job, she said, look, I was, nice enough job and all, but I was just a cog in the machine.
Sure.
Nobody really cared what I was doing. And I've never been so happy as when I worked at John's Crazy Socks.
Yeah.
And I look at her every day, she walks around smiling.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the people she gets to work with, it's the impact she gets to have. And that's the power of the social enterprise.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think we tend to, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we tend to overlook that piece, right? we're so worried about our balance sheet. We're so worried about the next check coming in. There's certain things that we're so worried about that we tend to keep our head down and not realize that there's a whole big world going on out there. So that's why I'm honored that you guys wanted to jump on today and hopefully share that.
You really have to know, it comes back, you got to know what your purpose is and your values are.
Yeah.
You know, as an entrepreneur, your audience knows, it's not a question of when, if things will go wrong. It's a question of when.
Right.
And who planned for a pandemic?
Right.
Right. But when you know what you're about, that will keep you moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
That will keep you focused. And then think about this. We sell socks. We've gone and counted. There are exactly 1 gazillion sock companies out there. How do you differentiate yourself?
Sure.
And if all we were doing was selling socks, what would we say? Ours are better than yours.
Right. Exactly.
Ours, don't smell like yours. So, or now what we're able to say is, you're going to get great socks.
Right.
But you're going to share in this experience. You're going to be part of what we do. And that's one of our values, core principles of we're going to make everything personal and share customer experiences. But when you buy from us, you get great socks. You already referenced the 29,000 5-star reviews.
Right.
But that purchase, that's going to help us employ people with different abilities. More than half of our colleagues have a different ability. That's going to support our giving back program. It starts by pledging 5% of earnings to the Special Olympics, but we have a whole slew of products that celebrate causes and raise money for those causes. You're going to support our advocacy work. And you know what, most of all, you're going to spread happiness.
Yeah.
You're going to feel great.
Well, and that's the thing about it is I love 2 words, spread happiness. So I got to believe, John, what's your favorite candy that you have what's your favorite?
My favorite candy, are gummies.
You like gummies, right?
I like gummies and jelly beans.
Do you put them in?
Where do we put the packages now?
Right now we put Skittles. Sometimes we mix with Sour Patch.
Sour Patch.
Oh my God.
There's a story behind it, Dave. When we started, it goes back to just John and I.
Yeah.
And many of our first orders were home deliveries. What candy were we putting in?
We put in Hershey Kisses. February, we got an email from the women down south and down in Florida, and he told me, you can't sit down chocolate down south.
Right, we're sending out Hershey's Kisses, but they're melted in the mail,
Oh, no.
so it's no longer Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah, and now we put Skittles and Sour Patch.
Okay.
But here's another thing, right? Where one of our core principles is let's make it personal.
Yeah.
Let's share that experience with the customer. And a lot of that is you just got to keep paying attention. And everybody has to be involved.
I let's see our customer response. I have they love the sock and personal touch and every order, and I get a sticker on the employees. I get hit picked by someone, or all the employees have their own sticker.
Well, I was going to tell Dave in the audience about candy, right?
Yeah.
So we do our own fulfillment. We have our own pick and pack warehouse.
Yeah.
And one day one of our packers comes and says, we sell socks for diabetics, these high compression socks.
Sure.
And we're sending them candy. What's wrong with that picture?
Bad idea,
now,
right?
Sugar-free.
We have sugar-free candy
Oh,
to
gosh.
go with the diabetic socks.
There you
We
go.
have a separate package that goes if we get an order from a military base.
Right.
Or you take it another step further. Your listeners out there, if they run their own business, your email list is so very important. And you will segment that so you can personalize things.
Sure.
Well, we segment our fulfillment. I mean, every package gets the same ingredients.
Yeah.
Gets the thank you
I
note.
get chicken and candy.
But we
Nice.
have 5 different base packages.
Okay.
So if this is your first order, you're going to get one package.
Okay.
If it's your second order, you get a different package.
Huh.
If it's your third, fourth, fifth, you get different. All it is just pay attention,
Sure.
right? And
Yeah.
look for ways to wow those customers.
Wow.
So it is, coming back to your question of, what's a social enterprise about? What's the mission of spreading happiness? You got to know what you're about, but you really have to believe. And then it becomes made manifest in everything you do,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we just moved into new offices. Well, it affects the way we painted the walls.
Sure.
It affects the way you lay out the office. Or if you call here, if a customer calls, there's no script.
Yeah.
We don't time phone calls.
Yeah.
We're going to have a personal conversation. We're going to wow you. I heard yesterday, Gail, one of our happiness creators, was on the phone with a customer. I'm overhearing this. The customer was calling because they had trouble at a website, at our website. Only they weren't at our website. She spent over 20 minutes, just very calmly, okay, well, this is how you find it, and helping this person through. You don't have a script for that.
Sure. Sure.
Right? You got to get people that are on board and believe, and then you live this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting that in preparing for today, I watched your TEDx talk, Mark, about, so you guys call, and again, this is where I'm just going to be vulnerable for the listener, because, we're not used to dealing with you're calling them differing abilities. So, growing up, I had, 2 cousins that had muscular dystrophy and were in wheelchairs. They're different, absolutely differing. Like you said, it's always hard to know how to approach that subject. So, and you had mentioned in your TEDx talk that there's a ton of opportunity from a hiring perspective, for instance, so how do you address that for the person listening that maybe never thought that of this as a viable option for hiring?
Listen, it is difficult. It is a challenge. We use the term differing abilities because it affects a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying, focus on what somebody can do, not what they can't do.
Sure.
We'll use the term disability because it's so common.
Okay.
And people will talk about it.
Sure.
But disability puts the emphasis on what you can't do.
Right.
Here's the way I think about it. There's a educational theorist out of Harvard, Edward, I'm going blank on his last name, but he's got a book called Multiple Intelligences.
Okay.
And what he looks at, he says, he started with 7 basic intelligences. We measure 2 of them in school. We measure an analytical and a verbal. But think about it, Dave. You have a social intelligence.
Right.
You have a physical intelligence. You have a management intelligence. So, and when he does profiles, he uses bar charts. You might be high in one area and low in another area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think of my partner, John, here. You happen to have Down syndrome.
Right.
I think of John, of not having 7 distinct intelligences, but having maybe 300. And some of them, John's like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And some of them, he's off the charts.
Yeah.
We don't ask John to do our finances.
Sure.
Right? But, at the same time, when I was younger, decades ago, I could remember, boy, I was hustling. I had no real talent. That's why I went to college. I had no talent. And I'm hustling, doing lots of different jobs. One of those jobs I worked, I called it then a chambermaid, but a housekeeper in a motel. I had to resign after 3 days, right before they were going to fire me. Because it turns out to work as a housekeeper in a hotel, you have to be able to make a bed. Well, I couldn't do that, no matter how hard I tried. And the poor woman who hired me was following behind, room after room, remaking the beds, right? I can't do that. That doesn't mean I don't have talent or abilities.
Sure. Yeah.
I worked as a cook, right?
Right.
Here's one of the places I worked,
I pick it, man.
the Pancake Man.
Ooh.
I am telling you, I worked there for many weeks making pancakes. You know, you get there at 5 a.m. We'd mix the pancake batter in giant garbage cans. And we had this huge grill, and I'd look to my left and I'd look to my right, and these people were all making these perfectly round pancakes. Mine came out looking like they had been exposed to radiation at Chernobyl. Okay, I can't do that. You know, we don't ask John to do our finances,
Sure.
but there's nobody that's going to throw an audience in a public speaking better than John.
Sure.
So what it comes down to, and it's kind of a life lesson, but it's an important thing for an employer. Focus on what somebody can do. Focus on what they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And focus on what you really need. So, here's a legal example. The New York City Fire Department, after many decades, said, we should be able to have female firefighters. Okay, well, if they can pass the test. So to become a New York City firefighter, you have to pass a written test. And if you score high enough, you get invited to take the physical test.
Sure.
Well, no women could pass the physical test.
Sure.
They didn't pass the physical test. Went to court. And an independent group looked at it and said, you know what? You're having people do things that have nothing to do with the job.
Mm.
And once you tie the physical test to what you actually do on the job, guess what? We have women firefighters.
Yeah.
And, for us, here's an example. We run a pick and pack warehouse. What do we call our pickers?
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. It's our entry level job.
What's it
What
called?
you got to do? Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. There
Right?
you go.
What do you got to do to get the job? Well, first meet with John and me. We want to make sure you understand the story and our values and our mission. Then a current sock wrangler will train you. And when you're ready, you have to pass the sock wrangler test. You have to pick 6 orders in 30 minutes or less. You pass that test, you get the job. It's very simple.
Sure.
We want to know, can you do the job?
Sure.
Nothing extraneous. If I know it's a bad season this year, but if I'm starting a basketball team, I'm gonna think about having LeBron James on my team. I don't care what his SAT scores were.
Right.
I don't care if he speaks French or what he can tell me about geometry. I want to know,
Sure.
can you play hoops?
Sure. Sure.
Right. So if you apply that to thinking about who you're hiring, it broadens the pool you can come from. And what I'll tell you is, if you're not considering people with different abilities, you cannot possibly be getting the best employees for your job,
Sure.
because you're artificially excluding people. And it's no different than saying, I don't hire Black people.
Right.
If you do that, when baseball was all white,
Right.
they didn't have the best players. In 1947, the Brooklyn Dodgers integrated by hiring Jackie Robinson. The next team to integrate were the Cleveland Indians, and the next team were the then New York Baseball Giants. Guess what? They became the 3 best teams in baseball.
Wow.
Why? Because they said, we're no longer going to exclude people for arbitrary reasons.
Sure.
We're going to focus on what we need. Now, if you think about them as a business, that gave them a competitive advantage. And so today, if we hire people with different abilities, we have 34 employees, 22 have a different ability. Understand, if you got to know us, you'd find out that John's a very nice guy. I am not. If you're going to work here, you got to produce. that hiring gives us a competitive advantage over other businesses.
Sure.
Right? We're able to fill all our jobs and we get great employees.
That's awesome. Well, and so you've been hinting at these 5 pillars. So I want to make sure that we talk briefly about those. So inspiration and hope is 1.
Right.
Giving back is 2. Fun products you can love is 3. Make it personal is 4, and making it a great place to work. Where did you create those? How did that come about? Do you remember?
Yes. We articulated those over our first year of business. They were already baked into what we were doing.
Okay.
But when it's just the 2 of us, you don't think about saying, well, we got to make it a great place to work. But from day 1, we knew we're all about the customer and making things personal. So it was a matter of honing that so that we could articulate that. Our first colleagues, as they joined us, helped us do that.
Sure.
Because that really defines in many ways, defines what we're about. And it's, to me, it's pretty simple and basic. Make it a great place to work. What's our mission?
Spread happiness.
Yeah.
So how are we going to spread happiness if our colleagues aren't happy?
Sure.
You got to make this a place where people want to work, that they're happy working here. They feel good. We want them to love working here.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, is always saying, we want volunteers, not hostages.
Sure.
Right? You want, and we have 5 pieces to that, just coincidentally. And some of this relates back to that social enterprise.
Sure.
1, offer people a mission worthy of their commitment. And it can't just be, we're going to make money. Everybody wants to make money, but something that's going to matter to people. Something where they can say, I'm glad I'm working on this. I'm glad I'm doing this. That they're going to want to tell other people about. 2, make sure everybody knows how their job matters.
Sure.
There's no cog in the machinery. There's no make work. Everybody's job matters. 3, put people in a position to succeed. Don't ask someone to do what they can't do. Don't ask me to make your bed. Don't ask John to do your finances. And give people what they need. So if one of our packers needs a special chair, get the chair. We don't have endless resources.
Sure.
But put people in a position to succeed. 4, acknowledge what people are doing, recognize it. You work hard on your podcast, you care about it. Just say, hey, Dave, that was a great podcast.
Right.
It can be as simple as saying, thank you. And then the 5th part is stay the hell out of the way. Let people do their jobs.
Right.
So that rolls up to, we're very fortunate. We have a great team here. We're able to do what we do because of what our colleagues do.
Sure.
And everybody together drives the mission.
There's so much here, you guys. You guys are awesome. So in case the listener doesn't know, you're father and son, correct?
That's what we are, right?
Right.
Buddy, partner,
Yeah.
roommate.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, and that's the best part about this is, you guys get to do what you enjoy, and it's easier. And we talk about this a lot on the show, that it's easier to enjoy what you do when you understand the mission and you understand the purpose and you understand where you're going. And right now, I mean, it's sad when you look at what, Gallup shows that 2 out of 3 people aren't engaged in their job.
It's awful.
Yeah. So
Why? And why do you want to be an employer like that? But also, I mean, that's why this big quit is happening. Why do you want to stay in a job like that?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
I used to joke that I had a list of jobs for potheads. There were jobs where you didn't care about what you were doing and nobody else cared either. Why would you want to do that?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
partially I'm old, right? I'm 63 years old.
You're old.
I know I'm old. We don't get that much time.
Yeah.
You don't know what time. So make the most of it.
Yep. That's hilarious. How old are you? Do you tell the world how old you are, John, or is that nobody's business?
I'm old too.
How old are you?
I'm 26. I'm old.
You're old, yeah.
27 is old? Come
26.
on. 26?
Older than you once were, younger than you will be.
Oh my
I'm
God.
be 99.
Yeah. Because at 99, that's when you can drink and drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not at the same time, hopefully.
Hopefully not. Yeah. Hopefully not. Oh my gosh. Well, so I have a question. Where does the inspiration come from for the sock designs? I mean, you have 4,000 different designs. How do you guys decide what design's going to work?
Everybody, well, first, here's the level of how we decide what we're going to sell. It's got to be fun, got to spread happiness.
I can be behind it.
John's got to be behind it. John's got to approve it. When it comes, it's evolved over time, right? When we started, we were only selling other people's socks.
Okay.
And it was John and I would sit there and go through catalogs, and John would pick out what he liked.
Yeah.
Over time, everybody here helps pick out socks, and our customers help pick out socks. Plus, we got into, designing some socks. You designed our first one,
I do.
right? Then
Nice.
What was that?
I down it from superhero stuff.
John designed that. So we developed our awareness line of socks that we make.
Okay.
Now we are growing our own line of socks because we'll be entering the wholesale channel. But so we have a design team, but everybody feeds into that. And that's part of what's great about the socks. You say this all the time.
I do.
They let you express yourself. You can
Yeah.
express your personality. Well, you can't have a monolithic offering there. You've got to have a broad diversity.
Sure.
And having a diverse workforce helps with that. I can pick out socks for old men, and we get others who pick out for others. Right, buddy?
Right.
Is Mark old, John?
Yes, he's old.
I think that's got to be like a little meme that's going to just keep replaying.
I think that could be the next sock is, a picture of old guys and there's Mark,
Yes,
I
yes,
think-
mom.
So here's the thing, Dave. It's a couple weeks ago, I was with some lifelong friends of mine. We've gone to high school together. And, one guy's already retired and a couple of them are retired and looking forward. And that's great. And I understand that. I'm like a 24-year-old kid.
Yeah.
There's so much to do. There's so much we're getting to do. And I can't wait. It's good stuff.
Didn't you guys get in front of Congress?
We have, and we weren't even subpoenaed. Well, this comes.
You were
back
there
to-
voluntarily. Let me just clarify that for the listening audience. They were there voluntarily. So.
You read off our pillars. The most important one is inspiration and hope. So that's showing what people with different abilities can do. We start with my partner.
Right.
John has Down syndrome. We don't put John in the back. John, you're the face of the business.
He's there.
Hey, John, you're better looking too than Mark, just so you know.
Oh, Jesus, don't feed into him. But more than half our colleagues have a different ability, but that's not enough for us. We want to show the world. So, you mentioned followers we have on Facebook and other social media platforms. We're sharing content all the time, videos, just showing what our colleagues can do.
Sure.
No broccoli, nothing your mother says, you have to sit and eat this is good for you. It's fun.
Yeah.
We host tours so that schools and social service agencies can come in here. And now we do it virtually. So we've had schools from around the world. So students can see, oh, I can do this. There
Sure.
are jobs for me, as well as understand that entrepreneurship is an option. We do a lot of speaking engagements. You mentioned the TEDx talks.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of these podcast interviews, and we're grateful because you let us, carry out our mission.
Sure.
But get in front of business organizations. And it's more show, not tell. Look what you can do when you hire people with different abilities. And then some of that leads into advocacy.
Sure.
Our business has given us a platform where people will listen. And that creates an obligation on our part. We have to make use of that. So yes, we've testified twice before Congress. We've spoken at the United Nations, standing up for the rights of people with different abilities.
Awesome.
I can share an anecdote of what
Yeah.
I mean by it gives us opportunities. So we're down on Capitol Hill one day, and we get a phone call in the office from a customer from Houston who says, I see John and Mark are on Capitol Hill. My mother works there, and she's a big fan of John's. Do you think she could meet John? And our colleague said, sure, here's Mark's cell phone number, text him your mom's contact information, which she did. Who was mom?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh.
So we get an audience with Nancy Pelosi. Now, put politics aside, we're
Sure.
so at each other's throats.
Sure.
We forget the humanity of these elected officials.
Absolutely.
Nancy Pelosi is an Italian grandmother. Right? So she meets John and she takes out pictures of socks that she had given former President Bush, George H.W. Bush, because John had somewhat famously become sock buddies with the former president. And this is warm and wonderful. And we're taking photos and there's hugs and everybody's happy. But you see, now we have this opportunity. And so then but Ms. Pelosi, we have to talk to you about eliminating the sub-minimum wage that allows people with a disability to be paid less than a minimum wage.
Sure.
We have thousands of people in this country being paid as little as 25 cents an hour. So if you get that opportunity, you got to make use of it.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, for the listener, again, we're programmed, and I'm glad that you use the word because it makes life easier for us. You use the word disability. So we've been programmed that's the word that we use. And like you said, then we start thinking about the limitations of what they can't do versus the abilities that they have. So I'm going to encourage the listener today a couple things. First of all, consider utilizing the word differing abilities and start having a mindset change rather than using the word disability, because I think that will definitely open up your mind. And just in this short time of discussing this with you guys, it's totally given me a whole different look in that. So I appreciate that part of that, you guys. And the second thing is, buy some socks. I mean, that's what else is there? Because if you buy socks, you're going to get Skittles and you're going to get a note from John, and you're going to have, you're going to be part of this social enterprise. So, I mean, it's a win-win. There's all positives that are there. So, that's the cool part about it is,
Dave, we're going to get you to come work for us.
Oh my gosh, I'll work for you guys for free. Trust me.
You want to get here like today. It's Friday,
yeah, exactly. But I'm not sure I can fill those orders as quick as those guys. I might not be a sock wrangler. So is there a different position other than sock wrangler? Because
we have happiness packers. We have happiness creators. One job you probably can't take is mama bear.
No.
Listen, we get to have fun.
Absolutely.
And why would you do otherwise?
Absolutely.
So here's something for the business owners out there to think about. We have no excuses. We can't blame what we do on the board.
Right.
We can't blame it on headquarters.
Yep.
We get to set up and run an organization the way we would dream of running it.
Right.
And why not?
Yep.
What stops us?
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, there's two things I'm walking away with. Number one is spread happiness. And the other one I'm walking away with, John, is Mark is old, right? Is Mark old, John?
Go ahead. Am I old?
Yes, you're old. It's your mom.
Oh, but yes, you're going to throw your mom under the bus here?
Yeah, she's old too.
Oh, now we're
Who's older, your
stalled.
mom or me?
Mom,
Mom's older
Oh,
than me.
now there's a problem.
they're both
Uh-oh.
of you old.
We're both old.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That John, you're gonna lose all your team if you keep calling them old. You can't keep calling them old. They're gonna go find something else to do. So that's so cool. Is there so what is something that give me a tip of the week, Mark, from as you're thinking about this, is just in your experience in the last couple of days, weeks, whatever. What's a tip for the listener right now that really would inspire them to move forward?
One, make sure you know what you're about. What's that purpose? And you asked us about articulating those 5 pillars.
Yeah.
You're going to have an idea on day one, but it's going to have to grow over some time before you can fully articulate it. So one, know what your purpose is, know what your values are. You'll know that they're real for you when you're willing to give up some revenue for them. But what goes hand in that is then you have to believe. And when you believe, everybody will be on board. You got to get everybody on board. And then it will become manifest in everything you do.
Yeah.
So, everybody talks about, oh, we want to take care of the customer. But if that's really what you believe, what are you doing about it?
Right.
How often do you think about it? Our overall mission is spreading happiness. Every decision we make, we weigh against that criteria. Everything we do with our customers, here's an easy one. We're looking, we have to monitor our costs. Well, do we really need to put candy in every package?
Sure.
We don't need to do that. Customers will like it. Yeah, but that's not going to wow the customer.
Right.
That's an investment in making that connection with that customer.
Yeah.
And the payoff is we get great customer retention. We get customers coming back, and we get customers becoming our best salespeople. So know what you're about, make that happen. That's going to sustain you. Don't lose sight by focusing on today's fire of what you're trying to do, because you'll never get ahead if you don't have that purpose in your eyesight all the time.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I mean, it's just amazing. I'm guessing you could walk your to any of your 34 employees and ask them what's the mission, and they're going to basically say spread happiness. I mean, that's the.
Not only that, they'll all tell you that, and then they'll tell you what they do to spread happiness.
Oh wow. That's so cool. So that's, if you're listening today and you have team members and you're part of a team, whatever, and you're able to walk around and ask the question of, why are you here? And they don't know the answer, then I think that's the red flag that we've been
That's a
talking
big
about.
problem.
Yeah.
If you just walk around today and ask all your colleagues, what's our purpose? What are we about?
Yeah.
And if you get lots of different answers, that's going to tell you something. And how do we do this? Because we talk about it all the time, because we build it into what we do. We had our monthly management meeting yesterday. What do we start with? What are we doing here, folks?
Sure.
What are we looking at? What's our objectives? Yes, we look at revenue and we look at our expenses, but also how many jobs have we created? What's our, what have we done for customers? What's our donation levels? Those just as important.
Yeah. That is so awesome. So if you're listening, again, I'm going to encourage you to walk around and ask your team, ask your customers. If you don't have a team, ask your customers, because they'll probably give you a really good insight. And, I think the challenge here as we land the plane today, Mark, I think the challenge here is for the listener is really to figure out what your candy is. What is your personal note? What is something that you can do to really separate yourself, to really make that connection? I can't wait to order my first set of socks and get this, note from, excuse me, from John, because in Skittles or whatever, if I have a house in the Midwest, and so I'm going to have you ship my socks there, John. So you can ship me all the chocolate that you want. Okay. Because we have no problem with chocolate. It's, we'll be good. So,
here's the thing, Dave, when you get that package from us, it's going to have John's smiling face on the outside. You're going to open it. You're going to get your socks. You're going to get the handwritten thank you note from John. On the flip side of that, you're going to get the story of John's crazy socks and our giving back.
Nice.
You're going to get your candy. On the packing slip, you're going to see the picture and the name of the person who packed your order. So you're not just getting socks.
Sure. Yep.
You're getting a dose of happiness.
Absolutely.
But now let's take this a next step. We're entering the wholesale channel. How do we convey that's a customer experience and connect with the customer if we're just in a store, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to do it differently, but if you know this is an important value to you, then you're going to figure out it's going to affect the tags you use and how you work with stores and
Sure.
what presentation you do.
Yeah.
And that's going to be different from business to business. But you got to start by knowing, well, what matters.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and you want to learn more about the socks, it's johnscrazysocks.com is the spot to be placing all your orders so that these two guys can continue on their mission. But if somebody wants, Mark, to learn more about you, learn more about your journey and wants to maybe understand more about social enterprise, differing abilities, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
So there's lots of ways to connect, right? We're on every social media platform. You can also listen to us. We now have a podcast. What's it called?
Spreading Happy Podcast.
The Spreading Happiness Podcast.
Oh my gosh. Oh, congratulations.
Very different than yours. You have helpful information and you're inspiring people. Ours is just the two of us bantering, telling some jokes, sharing some good news stories.
And my love life.
Bringing people up to date on John's love life. How smooth you are.
What? Love life. Oh, that's it. I got to listen to this. And who tells the jokes on the podcast? Both of you?
We both tell jokes. Yeah. Mine are decidedly dad jokes. But
the old jokes.
But if somebody wants to get a hold of us, send an email to us to me at MX Cronin, MXCRONIN at johnscrazysocks.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. John, is there any last words that you want to give to the audience?
You got some advice?
I do. Follow your heart, follow your dreams, work hard so you can do.
Pretty good, pal.
Good man. You guys rock. Thank you so much for hanging out. And again, for you listening, you know what? It's so inspirational to be able to bring this to you today because you're going to work hard anyway. So let's work hard and with a smile on our face and, spread happiness, because it's either you spread happiness or you spread sadness. I mean, there's really no in between. So at least invest your energy in spreading happiness and buy some socks. I mean, oh my gosh, it's Free Sock Friday, right? You guys, isn't it Free Sock Fridays?
Not quite, but
yeah.
It is Safe Lunch Friday, right? And one of those old singers I like, he would tell you, he not busy being born is a busy diet, right? Go out and go have an impact, make things happen.
Absolutely.
Pretty good. Thank you so much. And I think Dave,
Thank you.
when he gets done here, he's going surfboarding. He's going out on the.
No, first I'm going to go order socks, and then, then we're going surfing. So awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guy. Thank you, Dave.
Dick Dave.